this chapter. This one, like I said, is called Forgiveness. Now, before I get into that, last time she shared an acronym. It's SHE, and it stands for Sidetracked Home Executive. So I'm going to read that first, the first sentence on this to kind of give you an idea where she's going with that. In our all or nothing she mentality, perfectionism, when we mess up, we give up. This is so true. She talks about her friend who was on a low carb diet, and she would stick to it for so long, and then she would quit because she got a craving and she had a candy bar, and that was it. When I was doing the whole food plant-based diet, excuse me, these allergies are really bad, and I get like really dry. Plus, just a side note that I didn't realize I used to do, when I get anxious, and I do have anxiety when I do these, even though I'm alone and I never have to post them if I don't want to, but I know that I probably will, and so I get anxious and I tend to talk really fast. I'll get like really dry mouth, throat, and also I get like, I'll burp more, which I know it's so gross, too much information, but my husband pointed that out one time and I thought, no, I don't. I noticed it. Hold on just a minute, my dog is knocking on the door to come in, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So if this thing moves a little bit, he's right behind it on the bed, so he might move. Maybe he'll just move the light. Dropping things. Okay, so where was I? All right, so when I was doing the whole food plant-based diet, there was a couple of times that we had gone to Sprouts or to go grocery shopping, and I think it was I can't remember the name of the sandwich, but it's a turkey and cheese. And instead of taking the turkey out, I just decided that I would just keep it in. So I decided that I would keep it out, keep it in, and because I was trying not to eat meat, mostly just because I thought that's what was making me sick. And I think it was to a point, but not necessarily the turkey. It was just the heavy foods, and everything had fried, ground beef or whatever. So anyway, so I almost gave up a couple times because of that, because I messed up. I had something I shouldn't have, or I had even if I had just like a muffin, because I love brown muffins or orange cranberry muffins, and I would want to give up. Now, this time around, I haven't done that. I've had some things that, like, there's this bakery in my hometown called Pedro's Bakery, and they sell some of the most amazing baked goods and breads, and they have this jalapeno bread with cheese that's amazing. But they have these sticky buns, which they look like, like a big cinnamon roll, sort of, and they do have cinnamon in them. They have this like a glaze on them with, I think it's either walnuts or pecans at the top, and I think it has raisins in it, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, but they are just, that's my favorite thing. So every once in a while, I'm gonna have one. Now, I don't even eat the whole thing when I get it. Usually I share half with my husband, or if I get him something, I just eat half and eat the other half a couple days later or whatever. But I used to freak out about that. I'm gonna mess up everything, and now I'm like, no, it's gonna be fine. You're doing everything else. Do all the other things. Make sure you're eating everything else healthy. You're doing all the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. Get moving. Do the things that you said you would do, and don't freak out about this one thing, because if I do freak out, then I don't want to do it anymore. So, and this is kind of what this says. This is, hold on. I guess he did move the camera. He moved the tripod. Hold on. Hey, stop it. He's licking his feet, and he's playing with his toy, and he just has to comes in from outside, and they run in the dirt, and it's like, he comes in to give himself a bath on the bed, and then he makes all this noise, and I'm sure it's kind of annoying to hear that in the background. Hold on just a minute. Okay, I'm back. He laid down now. Let's see how long that lasts. So when she says about her friend eating the candy bar, she said she felt like she wasn't good anymore. Okay, so this is the part that I highlighted. She did not feel worthy enough to be nice to herself after she had messed up. She needed to be punished. And what better way than to gain her weight back? She was throwing her whole life away over one mistake. Yeah. So we give up. We make one mistake and we give up. That's what I was talking about in one of the other videos, like giving ourselves grace. We're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have something we shouldn't have. But instead of saying, hey, I'm done, it's over, I'm not going to do this anymore, say, okay, I made this choice. Let's not make it a habit. You know, it's a treat. It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, for instance, I have a treat here that my friend made, and it is dark chocolate and raspberries, and this one, there are some pecans on there and some pumpkin seeds. They fell off of this one, but it's just a chocolate piece of, it's on matzo. It's really good. My husband ate a bunch of this yesterday. He loved it. And she gave this to me yesterday when I was in town. She made them on these. Just Passover, so she made them on these things, and she just added the melted chocolate and put them on the top, I guess, and raspberries and some pumpkin seeds and pecans or walnuts. And it's really, really good. But like, I can have a piece of that and I'm fine. And I just have a little tiny piece. Oh, it's really, really good. But it's a treat. It's not something I'm going to eat very often. And it's okay. You know, and I'm sure if I check my sugars and all, they'll probably still be fine because I'm doing other things to keep them that way. So I can have this. Now, I'm sure I think I've shared this before from other chapters where she says, we are not perfect and we will never be. So the sooner we get rid of our perfectionist thinking when it comes to food or anything else we do, the faster we are going to be in control of our actions. Right now, when we mess up, we react like a child who has gone outside the lines on the picture she is coloring. We just want to water the paper and throw it away. We can't do that with our body. This is the only body we have. We have to practice being nice to ourselves. It's so funny that she uses that because that's me. If I make a mistake, like on a sticky note that I'm putting in my Bible or in my journal. As a matter of fact, I had one just a minute ago. I probably threw it. I made one little tiny mistake and I grabbed the sticky note and I wadded it up and I was like, I'm just throwing it away. I could have just corrected the mistake or just cut off that little piece and start all over again, but I didn't. So then I wrote it down again on another sticky note, and I'll put this up close. And this was from Instagram, Lauren Fortenberry, and I think it's called Lauren Fortenberry Writes. I love her posts. They are so good. This one says, and with God's strength, she took the next step. He was holding her hand. He was holding her heart. And prayer, let the healing come. And the scripture that she shared, I put that on another sticky note. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. So I wrote those down, and I'm going to add them to my journal or whatever. Maybe maybe onto one of the paintings that I did. And that's another thing. Just like that child, when I do these paintings, I just want to rip it out of my journal and just get rid of it. Because there's some horrible things. I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to paint. I'm just doing it. Some of them come out, for me, good. You know, I see where I was going with it. And there's some, it's like, what in the heck? What did I do there? But if I throw it out, I'm throwing out that time that I spent making those baby steps. The reason I'm even doing the painting is it's part of my healing process. It's part of trying to learn how to get out emotion that's inside, get out what I'm thinking, let things go, and just sit in the presence of God and, you know, play some praise and worship music and just paint whatever comes to my mind. And I never go in with it thinking this is what I want to paint, and even with my writing, if I allowed myself to just go in with it with No expectations, just do it. I probably would write a lot more, because my journals are a lot of devotional notes and stuff like that, and I'm hoping very soon that I can do just a brain dump like journal again and just write whatever, whatever comes to mind, and be nice to myself, because even in those things that we need to share that are hard, things that hurt us or whatever, it's fine. Share those things, write them down, talk to a therapist about it, but then we need to take the baby steps, and it's going to take time. It's going to take a lifetime, because we're not going to do this overnight. It's not going to happen. Even just in our weight loss journeys, in our health journeys, whatever that kind of journey is for you. These keep falling out of my ear. I think I need to put backings on them, because they just, I move too much, I guess. Like at the little back part, it hits right in the back of my head here, and it just pushes it out after a while, and I don't want to lose them. So, I got lost my thought there. I'll go on to some other stuff that I highlighted. So, the next thing is, well, she talks about this attitude, oh well, I messed up, so I might as well eat a hot fudge sundae and a huge bowl of macaroni and cheese. It's self-defeating. This scenario relates to our lack of forgiveness for our imperfections. A grudge is just a bitter pill we take that destroys our soul and doesn't even hurt the person whom we are not forgiving. When are we going to learn that the cure for the bitter disease is that we must first forgive ourselves for our past and quit punishing ourselves for every little mistake? So that is something I'm going to write on a sticky note, and I'm going to put it in my journal. I started writing in a journal for this last year, but what I did is, it's the same perfectionist attitude. I just did it in a regular composition notebook, which is not the big deal, but I just wrote in it. I didn't decorate pages like I do in my journal and stuff, and I don't know why I care, because it's like, it's messy. If you look at this, because when we get to the end of this chapter, I just wrote messy, and some of the stuff I don't even know if I can read, because of what the Body Clutter Mission is this time. And I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go through this one more time. I may share some of these probably at the end of this video, and then I'll redo mine of this time and see which ones I'm still in there. And this was done June 7th of 2023. Okay, so the next thing I highlighted was guilt is the lack of forgiveness manifested in physical anxiety. We have suffered with some form of guilt our whole lives. We don't have to live this way any longer. When you are stuck in a revolving door of guilt and unforgiveness, it is hard to break free. It seems like you are going someplace, but if the truth be known, you are just traveling in a vicious cycle that reaps only body clutter, with depression, martyrdom, and perfectionism fueling your trapped feelings. Yeah, I know I said that wrong. And, I stopped. I think I said that wrong. And I was about to just check the video, but I'm just going to leave it alone. In order to jump clear of those revolving doors, you have to forgive yourself for the past. Accept all the bad things that have ever happened to you. Okay, wait, let me read that again. Accept that all the bad things that ever happened to you were just stepping stones to a new way of living. That's a hard one for me. Probably a hard one for all of us, depending on what bad things that have happened to us were. It's hard to accept that, okay, so instead, why would God allow this to happen? That type of thinking. Why would that thing have to be a stepping stone for me to live a new life? But, now that I've been in therapy for a while, that I've really just poured out all my issues to the Lord, more so than I've ever have, those things were for some reason. Now, maybe they were bad, maybe, and whoever has hurt you, they're going to pay for that. One way or another, they're going to pay for it. They're going to face God for it. But holding on to the bitterness and holding on to the unforgiveness is hurting us, not them. And that's what I had to learn. I had to learn you've got to forgive for yourself. You don't have to be in their life. They don't have to be in yours. You don't have to, all those things you don't have to do, but you have to forgive so that you can get that off of you, that heavy burden. And that way, scripture tells us forgive so you can be forgiven. Make up your mind to forgive the part you had in those bad choices and press forward in your quest for happiness. And, depending on what those choices were, our part sometimes is the foods that we eat, ignoring things that are happening to us, not speaking up for ourselves, choosing to be in a relationship or friendship with someone we know is probably not a good idea, but we do it anyway. Those are the parts we have to accept. What they do to us, what somebody else does to us, it's on them. It's what we're allowing that we need to accept as our part, and then move on from that. Take the steps necessary to change that. Let me read one more part. You are never going to jump free of that vicious cycle if you are always looking back at the past. We have to let go of those years and accept that you are who you are because of those choices, and thank God for a new way of looking at them. And as you can tell, I'm still highlighting in here because this, I read it through. I have old highlights in here and some new ones, and there was some stuff that I read and it just hit me now that, hey, you got to remember this. Then release the bad choices and move on. No amount of whining, pining, anger, or self-abuse is going to change what happened in the past. We have to live in the present. So here she talks about forgiveness, and I'm not saying you have to forget, but you don't have to constantly dwell on the mistakes of your past. You have learned from them, and now you can take a new path without having to turn your back on the present and the future. And this chapter is really good. Once you've forgiven yourself, you can move on to forgiving others. The most amazing thing happens when you are not burdened by the evil that others do. You are free to fly. And that is something I'm going to definitely put on a sticky note in my journal. And there's just so much that I want to not forget. And eventually, I don't know what's going to happen to my journals. I don't know if I'll keep them forever, if I'll get rid of them, or if I'll pass away and somebody else will read them. But I think of that and I wonder, I should share my story in there and leave it. Let them read it. Let them see all the things that happen, and then that restoration that God does. As a matter of fact, the journal that I'm working on now, it's this one here, which is the one I have all the watercolors and stuff in. Yeah, see my latest mess up. I was doing some testing of some colors that I just got today in acrylic pens, and I had messed up this part, so I tried to cover it up, and I was like, no, it's just going to be a testing page. But I'm just kind of watching some videos, and I'm trying out some stuff, and I know nothing about what I'm doing, so it's been fun though. But anyways, my younger sister, Jermaine, had asked me, she told me she wanted one of my journals, for me to give her one. And then she's like, "Could you give me that one that you have now when you're done with it?" And I thought, why in the world would she want a journal? I still don't really know why. I guess maybe just because she wants to see what I write. She likes how I kind of put it together and stuff like that. And I think sometimes people just want to get to know you, and maybe we don't know how to ask the right questions, or we don't have enough time to sit and have a really long conversation, or, you know, or sometimes you don't even think to ask that question, but you get to read it and you get to know someone better. So that may happen. And I think about all of these things that she talks about here, and that if I could just share this story, like I'm doing it here on YouTube, but I love journals. I love to journal, and a lot of people in my family love to read, and I think it'd be just awesome to just be able to share all of that and be able to just give it to someone, you know, and let them read all the things that you've been through, and then the way God has restored you and changed you and helped you overcome things. And it's amazing. Let's see what else. She talks about a lot of her issues in her relationships and things like that, and how I'll read this paragraph. When we forgive ourselves and others, we are loving ourselves first. For many years, I have lived with a wonderful man. I've been very happy in our relationship. I always thought that being happy would make the body clutter disappear. It wasn't until I released the anger, rebellion, and grudge by forgiving myself and my ex-husband that I started to see a change in my attitude and on my scale. And that is so true, because I know that for me, and this is true, I think, for just anybody, but when we're really highly stressed people, stress can cause body clutter. It causes our body to react in a certain way that we can gain weight and we just feel sick. I know it does that for me. And it makes it really hard to lose weight when you're just holding on to all the bitterness, because it hurts your body. And so reading this helped me to see, like, no matter what people do to you, no matter what happens, if we love ourselves enough, we need to let it go. We need to forgive them and surrender them to God, because they're going to face Him anyway. And surrender them. Let them go to Him. Now, if it's a certain situation that you are going to still be in this person's life, but you can still let that situation go, and you can still surrender people to God in a way where you stop trying to change them. You stop trying to make them understand, you know, and pray for them instead, and be the person that you should be the example, do these things, and others will follow. And of course it's going to come when they're ready, because this didn't happen when I wasn't ready. I tried. I wasn't ready to face the real issues. Now I'm beginning to, and it's really changing things for me. One of the most potent things in the world is forgiveness. In my estimation, the power to forgive and accept forgiveness is a key to releasing one's internal bondage. Forgiving is empowering, asking yourself for forgiveness as well as extending it to others. How hard do you find it to forgive yourself? I know that for the most part, I can forgive other people. There's some instances that I know I have still some unforgiveness for some things, but for the most part, I can. Hold on.